Good night. Good night, Sir Martin. Yes, good night and welcome to your favorite online internet program, www.ssmtalk.com. Of course, I'm your host, Christopher Emmanuel. Sorry for the late start. It was a heated, extremely heated discussion in the studio here tonight concerning education. And I got to thank all my people who viewed the program last night. And I should put in the quotes and say the hate mail, but I can't say hate mail because it's all love and it's all good. I was called to order by a very good friend of mine concerning the comments I made last night with Derpy. You know, seemingly the individual didn't like my comments that I made. We had a long and fruitful discussion on the topic and stuff, and I was made a gesture, I can't say a promise, that they would get someone within the department to come and explain, the whole functioning of the division of Derpy in the near future. So I'm saying to myself, should I apologize for my comments? Should I take back my comments? I don't think I'm going to do it. And the reason why is simply because I stand by what I said in relations to the whole department or division of Derpy. But it's always good to get someone to come in and we can talk. But let me say this to my good friend, and the comment was passed around that what was it? I'm stepping on my votes, and I had to laugh at it because there we go again. We make everything political in St. Martin. But to my good friend, I like the discussion we had earlier this morning, should I say, concerning my comments and stuff. And I stand by what I said because I realized we came to a common ground. And I understand the points that you were making, and I see that you also, realize the points that I was making. So I'm not going to take it back, right? Because again, after our discussion, it sort of solidified the thoughts and the things that I'm thinking. And I went on and I did some research. Concerning this whole FBE, foundation-based education thing. And to tell you the truth, all of the places that I looked at, they have dismissed this system. They have dismissed the system because they realize that the system is not working. It's not conducive for the learning ability of the children. And Holland has dismissed it. Caruso is having a serious problem with it. They want it out right now. There was Argentina, right, also had a similar thing, and they got rid of it one time, okay, and quick. They got rid of it quick. So I'm saying to myself, I think thorough explanation need to be given, right, on the philosophy and the framework of FBE. How does it work? Because when I did some of the research, we are talking about innovations in the school. We are talking about assistant teachers. We are talking about focusing on individual students and how they are being groomed on their level. But as it is right now with our schools and stuff like that, right? We don't have those assistants. We don't have the extra stuff in the classroom. We don't have these sort of things. You see, so it comes back to my point as to why I believe it's definitely not working. Anyway, I want to get into this discussion that, to me, it seems to be a bit watered down as usual, but I wouldn't have expected nothing different concerning slavery. And that's what it says here in the newspaper of today. Slavery still exists today. That's what it says in the paper. And I'm talking about the Daily Herald, Monday, January 23rd, which is today. And this comes from Amsterdam. Strong message at start slavery past commemoration program. I'm just going to read one or two paragraphs as to why I believe the whole thing is watered down. And I think we here as former colonies, we are still colonies, but they put it inside of the paper, Suriname and the Netherlands Antilles in terms of slavery being abolished. But we are still colonies, we here in the former Netherlands Antilles. I think we need to send a strong message to Amsterdam or to The Hague in terms of acknowledging, right, the wicked, barbaric treatment of slavery okay, the displacement of a generation, of a continent. And people need to be reminded that slavery was started by the Dutch. That's their fingerprint in the world history. All right? They are living, yes, they started slavery, yes. In Brazil, yes. Okay? I have a head discussion here with my engineer. He started to frown when I said that, right? The country of the Netherlands, Holland, have lived a privileged life for years, flourishing with gold and spices and stuff. You know, managed to build and develop and export because of the slavery control that they have had. So they have lived a privileged lifestyle. Up to this day, they are still living a privileged lifestyle in comparison to the countries that they have exploited, plundered, raped, and torn apart. But let me read this article, just a couple of paragraphs. It says, the Amsterdam, the year-long program to commemorate the abolishment of slavery in Suriname and the former Netherlands Antilles in 1863 kicked off in Amsterdam on Saturday with words of reconciliation and a vigorous message to keep fighting against slavery because it still exists today. Despite its abolition of slavery, past still continues to live on today, said Chair Lady of the Foundation Slavery Past Commemoration 2013, Johan Ferrier, in front of a full theater at Amsterdam Tropics Museum. Not only does modern slavery still exist through child labor and forced prostitution, but colored people are still facing prejudices, racism, and discrimination, and related social rejection, poverty, and oppression, said Ferrier, who pointed out that a recent study showed that in the Netherlands, people from Suriname and the former Netherlands Antilles were discriminated in the labor market, violated each other's fundamental human rights. Unfortunately, is not history, but sadly is still there today. It remains an issue that continues to deprive priority attention, said Ferrier. She called on people to look at the joint emotional charge past, but to also look ahead, find common ground, explore possibilities for further emancipation and integration, and to build a future together. Now, I mean, all those things are nice words, and this is what we get all the time. Why we don't get down to the real nitty-gritty and the truth? Because I'm reading this article and it goes on. It's a nice article. It's put together well. It talks a bit about, how Holland expand with the canals because, they managed to get gold and money and they was living good. Now, you see, all these things are good. But if you want to send a vigorous message, we have to say it as it is. Because the queen still drive around in a chariot of gold where you have black people handing up baskets and stuff, pictures on it. Okay? And that's depicted on the chariot that the queen ride around in. We need to call slavery as it is. It was barbaric, it was evil, and all these former colonial countries have to pay for the genocide, the murderous things that they have conducted on these countries. They have to pay for it. And this is the message we have to send. And it is all fitted and all settled and it's all well. We have the Criminal Court of Justice in The Hague. So it is time that we start calling the Royal House to answer some questions. The House of Oranje need to start answering these questions in the manner of which they have conducted and built their wealth and living a lavish lifestyle today because of their plunderous, murderous, piratous sort of nature that they have. Why is it that we are afraid to speak this way? I mean, to me, that is vigorous. To me, that's the right message to send in this setting. Yes, slavery still exists, but you come and tell me about child labor and prostitution? Huh? I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear how the Hague and the House of Oranje came down to my nice Swaliga Island and plundered my salt pond for their hearing. Huh? That's what I want to know. I want to know, right? Reparations, the payback that they're going to offer for what they have done to my ancestors. They are living a privileged lifestyle today because of the barbaric treatment that they have done to my ancestors that have me in the position that I am in today. But we seem to be afraid or scared to acknowledge the reality of slavery. I mean, when we read this article, right? It sounds nice. It puts it in a, let me say this. The alderman acknowledged that the canals in Amsterdam, which drew millions of visitors each year, were built in rich times when a lot of money was made with trading of spices, gold, and slaves. The canals are a heritage of a rich past that was built at the cost of thousands of people. Let's remember that the grandeur of the canals also has another invisible, nasty side, he said. Not a nasty side, a murderous side. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives at the hands, right, of the House of Oranje. Thousands of black people, thousands of Africans, my ancestors, has lost their lives at the hands, right, of the House of Oranje, the House of Nassau. So I am saying, right, it is good for us to commemorate all the time and acknowledge this all the time, but let us get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Holland, you owe not only an apology to your former colonies, which is Suriname and Indonesia and these sort of places, but you also owe an apology and you have a debt of gratitude to repay to us here in the Netherlands Antilles. Okay? So, and it is so fitting because, yes, I went to school in Holland and we all had EBG and, you know, studie financiering and stuff like that. And I told him, look how I get myself in trouble. I'm back here for almost 10 years or more, and I haven't started paying back my studie financiering yet. And I make a point to tell him, no, that's my money. That's my money. Every ounce and pound of salt that you took from that pond in Phillipsburg, right, is reparations for me. Okay? That's what it is. It's my education that you have drained from that salt pond. And I'm saying to myself, we seem to have this afraid and scared notion to call it out. Call it out. Slavery. Slavery. It's evil. Okay? And yes, the Dutch has a major role to play when it came to the murderous things that happened. And then you have the smart individuals, yeah, but it's your own African people who sold them nonsense. Ridiculous. Go and study and do your history. Okay? Go and study and do your history. And that's the point that I wanted to get in the discussion here today concerning this. But then I don't expect nothing different to come out of Amsterdam. And then when I look at the pictures here, right? Every time they want to put a face to some sort of black leadership in Holland, who they put up front? John Leerdam. I'm tired of this guy. Not that I have nothing against him, but he doesn't speak for me. Nor does he represent me. Okay? Because he himself is enjoying the scrums and the scraps from the master's table. He doesn't represent me. All right? And it is so funny Here you have the chairlady of the foundation, slavery past, commemoration, but she white. And I'm trying to figure out, how could you understand the sufferance that me, my generation, my people, my ancestors have gone through when you are living that privileged life? It's not about racism, and I'm not being racist. Okay? I'm being pro-black. That's what the discussion is about. We need to acknowledge this. And listen, how many people have seen a history book from Holland? How many people have seen a history book from Holland? Whenever it comes to the discussion of slavery, the history books in Holland has about 4 to 5 pages dedicated, right, to 400 years of this horrible, horrible tragedy, this horrible genocide, this horrible destruction. That's what it is. But we continue to profess as if nothing have happened. It doesn't exist. And we as a people ourselves say, man, we have to stop lingering in the past. Of course we have to stop lingering in the past. But many of us are in the position we are in today because of that past. And it continues to profess and manifest itself today the same way. You see? So, as much as it's a nice article, I would encourage everyone to get their hands on the papers. Get their hands on it. It took up a whole page. Slavery still exists today. It took up a whole page. It makes good reason, but it lacks the content of the seriousness and the ills that slavery has caused, that the Dutch have imposed, right, on their colonies. It lacked that. It lacked that hardness, that harshness to really describe what happened during the term of slavery. It really does. Now, I want to get back to this other discussion too, because I've spoke about it here on many occasions, right? Talking about the chamber. The chamber want to get into the business of customer protection agency. I think in Holland they call it Consumentenbond or something like that. I stand to be corrected on that, right? I'll tell you the problem that I have with all these sort of initiatives and things that it's good to talk, but there must be action behind the talk. All right? First, you had the chamber come up and say that so much and so much a percentage of businesses are not paying their taxes. And this was done, or this was said about a good, and it was Glenn Carty that made that statement when he was president of the chamber. He made that statement about 5 to 6 years ago. All right? Yeah, there's an editorial on it, compliance. Whenever it comes to something for the people, there always seems to be an issue. It could never be done right. It could never get done, as a matter of fact. All right? So much amount of businesses are not paying taxes, but they are still functioning. They are still operating. They are still going along. Casinos owe millions to the government in taxes, but they are still functioning. They are still going around. But you, the moment you owe the government a little 50, 60,000 or 15,000 guilders, they all over you. They season your accounts. They close down your business. They come in your house. They taking your furniture. Listen, even the water they going with out of the cooler. Going in your fridge, even your ice blocks and the ice trays they're going with to auction off. And you know, these are the things that you have to look at and say, but something is wrong. Now, you want to tackle or you want to get into, where is this thing? Chamber to Commerce to tackle consumer protection. You know? And I'm saying to myself, It's a good initiative. It's about time. But listen, I guarantee you, mark my words, nothing is going to be done about it. Because they can't do nothing about it. Because they don't care to do anything about it. The role and the objection of the chamber is to protect their members, which are the businesses. So they don't care about customers. They don't care about customers. So again, these are the things that get me upset when you come up with these nice talk and figure we are idiots. All right? The chamber there is to protect their businesses, their members, not consumers. What does it say? The St. Martin Chamber of Commerce and Industry plans to tackle consumer protection via its public-private partnership, which it hopes to get up and running with government. In response to questions from the media at press conference on Friday, January the 18th, Chamber Vice President Hubert Pantoflet said in the past, the Chamber went beyond its point of duty to address complaints it received. However, the recently installed board will be challenging these issues through its public-private partnership. The board, he said, would also meet with the various stakeholders and association to come up with some understanding on how to move effectively tackle consumer protection. I mean, look, listen, St. Martin, don't hold on your breath, because we are going to die. It's nice talk, nice speeches, but you're going to get nothing. You know why you're going to get nothing? Because we are not demanding that we want something done. The only way government going to see that something get done, the only way that the chamber is going to really do something when we start to react and say we have had enough in the manner in which these businesses are treating us and clients. You spend your money in a store, you don't want the merchandise, it's faulty, no cash refund, exchange only. But who tell you I want something else in the store? I don't want, and they all have a policy. They all have a policy. Nobody worrying about what the law says, but they all have a policy. If I don't want nothing else in the store, who's it to tell me I can't get my money back? Those are the things the chamber got to look into, what their members does. That's what they got to do. You know, look at those sort of things. So that's why I'm saying to myself, it's nice to put them in a newspaper, right? But nothing is going to get done, nothing is going to happen. Why? Because it is something that is good for the people, right? And once it's for the people, nobody cares. Only time this can get some attention is come 2014. Then it's going to get some attention. Because it's only then politicians that really listen. It's only then is when they care. It's only then when it's for the people. Only then. And they're going to bend over backwards to make sure that everything gets done. So, St. Martin people, if I hold out your breath right now until 2014, all the things that you want done, hold it until 2014. And then go to the big fish. Because it's only then they have the solution for everything. But when that election day reach, and those polls close at 6 o'clock, all of a sudden nothing can get done, eh? Remember I tell you guys that. That's the show for tonight. Take care of yourself, St. Martin people. God bless each and every one of you guys. Goodbye.
There was a time when people dare not utter a word. There was a time when people were in the dark and searching for accurate information. Just when all hope is lost and frustration hangs in the balance, XSM Talk emerges and broke the silence. Join host Christopher Emmanuel for live and serious discussions and hard talk.